Okay, what's up everyone? I just got this new microphone, so I wanted to test it out and maybe make a little video. I don't even know if I'm going to post this. Guess we'll see how it goes, but so in this video, I just wanted to try to give some of the people who might be younger than me, maybe are kind of lost, maybe in their early 20s, struggling or whatever. I wanted to give you guys some of the advice that my friends didn't really give me back then. Now, I know you're probably at an age where you're probably not really listening to your parents. My God, it's so fucking hard to talk to a microphone. Where was I? Okay, so anyways, my first piece of advice, I want to tell you guys to stay away from weed and psychedelics. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Weed, like, it's not that bad or whatever, but if you're like me, like I was a major stoner in my early 20s and teens, and I didn't realize it at the time. When I started doing it, I was just doing it with my friends because they thought it was fun, and I was like, oh, I want to be a cool kid, I want to have fun with them too, because all the cool kids fucking smoke weed and drink or whatever, right? But you get older and you realize all that shit's lame as fuck, and most of those people that were doing that, they're losers by the time they hit 30, 40 years old, and they've done it so long that they can't really change at that point. But yeah, I started smoking weed, I was like 18, and I really got into it heavy around the ages of 20 to 21, which is also when I got into psychedelics. And I didn't realize it at the time, but me smoking, I don't know if any of you have ever had a situation where you would get high and you would have like a panic attack, and you'd be like in the corner feeling like you're gonna die. Your friends are like trying to calm you down, and you're like telling yourself like, okay, it's just weed, right? Like, I'm gonna be okay. I used to get plenty of scenarios like that. I don't even really know what I was smoking, because we were just getting it from people off the street. I mean, let's be honest, that shit could have been laced, who knows? But I was also doing dabs, which anyone who's done dabs, it's a lot more potent than just smoking regular flower. And it got to the point where that anxiety, that stress I was feeling when I was high, it basically carried over into my real life. And it got so bad to the point where I couldn't even look like some of my best friends or family in the eyes when I was talking to them, because I felt so nervous in social interactions. It was so bad. Like, the whole year of 2021, probably the hardest year of my life, which was also, when I was trying to get off these drugs. It got to a point where I couldn't even go to the grocery store by myself as like a 21-year-old man. I was too anxious and afraid to go out in public and be seen by people, and it's because of the drugs I was doing. So that's weed. I know, people are like, oh, it's not as harmful as alcohol, and physically it probably isn't, but also it has, like, I don't know, it does something to your brain that alcohol doesn't do. I could still drink today, and when I drink, I feel more like myself. When I smoke, I feel like a totally different person. That's just my experience, but if you feel similar to that, I recommend you take my advice and stay away from weed. So anyways, the next thing I want to talk about is psychedelics. I don't know if any of you have tried psychedelics. By psychedelics, I mean stuff like mushrooms, LSD, acid, DMT. I've never done shrooms or DMT, but I have done acid. And I want to talk about this person real quick. I don't know if any of you people know who Connor Murphy is. He was, I guess, like an ultra viral fitness influencer in the early to mid 2010s. I used to watch him back then. He was one of the first people who got me into fitness. And he was a totally normal dude. He would do these public stunts where he would go out shirtless and try to pick up girls. And totally normal, like Chad, like guy, like super good looking, pause, super strong dude, super outgoing, charismatic, totally normal as far as we knew person. And I don't know like the full details, but I know he went on some trip to, I don't know, was it Peru? I'm not entirely sure where he went, but he did some drug down there. I can't remember what it's called, but it basically had the same compound as DMT in it. And afterwards, the guy totally, I mean, if you listen to him speak, he was very articulate, but if you watch a lot of his videos after he did that, he totally lost his fucking mind. He thought he was God. He was like injecting himself with gold or something like that because he thought it would give him a higher IQ and like godlike powers. Now, you know, you can make the argument that God's like inside of all of us or whatever, you know. I could believe that as a Christian, but he just, I don't know, dude. He totally lost his mind after that, and I'm sure a lot of you have heard, he died like 2 weeks ago. After he was injecting gold, he went swimming outside in the back of his house and he fucking drowned. If he never did psychedelics, this would not have happened to him. Now, here's my experience with acid. I had a couple friends, you know, we made a plan to go on this trip and do it. Cool, you know, I went there with 3 of my other friends and my ex-girlfriend. At the time, like, the only other drug I had done would be like weed, Xans, like, you know, normal stuff you do growing up in inner city Waterbury. And acid was unlike anything else I ever fucking tried before. You take it as a tab, you put it on your tongue, and it absorbs into your mouth. Sorry, let me get a drink real quick. You put it on your tongue, and it absorbs. I don't fucking know the science of it, but your body absorbs it, and it takes a while. It takes like an hour or two for you to start to feel the effects. And when you start to feel them, you know, it starts with just like, you know, colors looking a little brighter, sounds being a little stronger, like an airplane flew over our heads, like a couple thousand feet in the air, and it sounded like it was literally going to crash into us. That's how loud it sounded. So it starts like that. Next thing you know, you'll be looking at the trees, and you'll look at one tree and it'll be like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, I don't want to say 3-dimensional because we live in a 3-dimensional world, but it'll be almost like 5D. Like, you'll look at a tree and it'll be like multiple trees on top of the same tree. If you've done acid, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. And then you would like look at your arms, and you could like basically see your hairs, for one, dancing on your arms, and you can see your blood like coursing through your veins. It's fucking insane. I hope this isn't making you want to try it, but I'm just giving you my experience. Now, all that music, you know, listening to music, it feels like, you know, your body's, you know, moving with the beat. I don't know if that makes sense, but so that's the good part. The bad part is, like weed, panic attacks. You start to feel this crazy sense of anxiety and impending doom that you would never feel if you were sober. And not for nothing, there's stories of people who have smoked weed and killed themselves. There's stories of people who have done acid and killed themselves while they were tripping. So my experience was, I was just terrified. Like, I just felt like I was going to die. I felt like a different person. I felt like I was living in someone else's body. And when the drug wore off, that feeling did not wear off. I know a lot of people do these psychedelics and they feel like they've been enlightened, like they opened their third eye and they've seen the secrets of the universe. You know, if you're one of those people and it helped you out, I'm glad for you. I'm very happy you had a good experience. But for me, this drug made me want to kill myself for years. And I never really talked to anyone about it. It made me, I was going through such a rough time. I had recently moved out with a girl that, you know, obviously looking back at it was not right for me. I felt like I was walking around living somebody else's life for a solid year to 2 years. Like, and this is totally from the drugs that I did. Keep that in mind. Where was I going with this? Lost my train of thought, sorry. Yeah, so anyways, the negative feelings I had when I was tripping on acid, mind you, I didn't just do it once. I did it once, I had those feelings. I did it again a few months later. The feelings got worse and they stayed. And then like a dumbass, I did it a third time. And guess what? the sense of anxiety and impending doom, it got worse and it stayed. And it was even worse than the first time I did it. So, you know, some people may want to call me weak or a pussy or whatever. I don't really give a shit. This is my opinion. This is what happened to me. There's people who have the gene for schizophrenia who have done LSD that literally awoke their schizophrenia and they were schizo after doing it. I feel like that's almost what happened to me. After I did that drug, I did not know who I was, and it felt like I was walking around as a hollow shell of my former self for years. And it felt terrible, and the only thing that got me through it was, you know, I don't know if everyone's going to feel this, but was my faith in God. I believe in God. I believe that there's a purpose for me. And I believed that all that terrible stuff I was going through, this is the silver lining, all that terrible stuff I was going through, I felt like there was a purpose for it. And I felt like, you know, even if I felt terrible, like I might die any day from the stress I was feeling, or that I wanted to kill myself, I was like, you know what? God's got me. I believe in God, and I'm going to die one day anyway, so I might as well just go through this stuff and see what comes out of it, you know? Any great superhero, any great story, it was always a bumpy ride. Everyone had to slay their dragon and whatever you want to fucking talk about. Star Wars, Luke Skywalker, Frodo, Lord of the Rings. Everyone had their quest, and for every great hero, it was extremely difficult. So that's what I told myself, and me having faith in God and just sticking with life even when I didn't want to, that's what got me through it, and I'm in a much better place now. I'm engaged. I can't fucking talk. I'm engaged to the woman of my dreams, my best friend. I have a beautiful puppy. I have a house. I have an amazing job. I also lost my job this last year, which I could have let that, you know, spiral me into whatever, drinking or drugs or whatever, but I've tried to stay pretty productive this time. I'm still going to the gym. I've been taking a computer programming course, trying to better myself, and I ended up landing a much better job than the one I had before, so it all worked out. That's kind of getting off topic, but yeah, so that was my experience with acid. I made a Twitter post about this too. It felt like these drugs took pieces of me that I never got back. And when I lost those pieces of myself, it was really, really hard to even exist because I didn't feel like myself anymore. I felt like I was, like I said, living in someone else's body. And eventually, my faith in God, all that stuff got me through it. I learned to live without those pieces, but even today, now, I can still feel that I'm not who I was before I did these drugs. So I hope that scares you, because I really don't want anyone else to go through what I went through. And yeah, that's pretty much it for that part. I honestly might make a couple videos about this, because I wanted to talk about a couple different topics, but I've been yapping for like 13 minutes now. So I don't even know if I'm going to post this, but if you tune in and you watch this, I guess I hope it helps you, and I hope you learned something. Thanks.